Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to episode 9 of that Wolfie Royals podcast. I cannot believe it is September already. As I say, every week I'm having an absolute blast recording these podcasts. So again, thanks so much for your continued support. This episode we've got an absolute cracking guest lined up and 3 new breeders in the new breeder segment as well. So something for everyone in there. A couple of quick things to go over before we get into the podcast. If you are listening to this on release date, then tomorrow is the IHS show in Manchester. So if you are going up there, I will be vending for the first time. So if you do see me, happen to pop by the table, say hello. Be good to put some names and faces together, because obviously you speak to a lot of people online and through Instagram, Facebook, etc. So if you do see me, come over, say hello, and it'd be good to talk to you. On the topic of shows, if you haven't already, there is a limited amount of tickets left for the Southwest Constrictors show, which is in October. October the 15th, I believe, is the show date. I think it's a Saturday. If you didn't get to go last year or you are interested, head on over to their Facebook page, which is the SWC Constrictors or the SW Constrictors group page. All the details on there for how to purchase tickets. And again, if you do get there, pop over, say hello, and it'd be good to put names and faces together again. Now, the main featured guest on this episode has been heavily requested. Loads of people have wanted to hear what this guy's got to say. So I had a great time going up there and sitting down with Paul and recording an episode. And I also got to sit down with 3 young guys from Paul's Patreon page, just have a little chat to them and see how they're getting into the hobby and their experiences so far. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is episode 9 of that Wolfie Rolls podcast.
Hi, this is Chris from Project Pied, founder member of the SWC group. The other members of the group are Max from CMT Royals, Darren from DJ Constrictors, Ryan from Rival Reptiles, and last but not least, Ross from Armour Key Reptiles. We founded the Southwest Constrictors group to provide a relaxed and friendly reptile show for both new and experienced breeders alike. We had some of the finest breeders in the UK attend our inaugural show back in October. Importantly, the show is brought to you by the breeders for the breeders. So why don't you come along to the next show and see for yourself. For all our updates, join and follow the Southwest Constrictors page on Facebook. We've decided to sponsor that Wolfie Royals podcast because we feel that the UK deserves a podcast like this.
So we're joined by Dean of Bristol Bulls. Thanks very much for coming on.
No worries.
So as I said earlier, really, really simple stuff. Give us a sort of brief description, little history on how you got started, when, why, how.
Cool.
Yeah, over to you.
So it started for me about 3 years ago. So I was probably into tarantulas before, and then with moving house and things, I had to downsize that collection. So that was it. Whilst I had my tarantulas, my missus was like, "Oh, you're not going to get into snakes, are you?" I was like, "No, I'm not interested in snakes." Anyway, they went to some kind of zoo or something. They held a snake, and then they come back next day and said, "What do you think about getting a snake?" So I was like, "Yeah, we'll get a snake." So done a bit of research, and then I went to the reptile shop and had a look at it. So I knew I wanted to get a royal. So they had like a Mojave. Didn't really know it was a morph at that time, but it looked pretty good. I thought that's good. So I was like, "Well, why don't we go to the reptile sanctuary where you could adopt one, you know?" So I thought, all right, good shout, we'll have a look. So we messaged them saying, "You got any royals?" Yeah, come on down. So we went down there. They didn't have none. They tried to say, "No, but we got a corn snake." I was like, "But you told me like you had royals," and like, no. So I was like, right, back to the reptile shop. So I bought a Mojave for £100, and then that was that. So we was having that as a pet, and then we started looking into all the different morphs, and I was like, wow, and that was it then, hooked. So I was like, we're going to try and make a bell. So that's how it started for us. Rather than buying it before, we'll make it, and it just got more and more from there.
What sort of year was that?
That's 3 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was, 3 years ago.
And numbers-wise, what are you up to now?
35, less. Yeah, less of all the hatchlings, whatever we got. So yeah, around about 35 at the minute.
Where do you want to be in terms of numbers? What's the sweet spot for you?
Oh, I don't know. Somewhere, I reckon around 100 maybe. Somewhere about that.
In total?
Yeah.
And that, of those, sort of how many breeding females, etc.?
Yeah, probably. I've got now 20. Maybe not. I want to go as big as possible, to be fair.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah. So as long as I have to move out, I need somewhere, as big as my room can take me. So we'll get to that as we move on. But
so what are your main sort of projects or, focus on genes, etc. for?
Clown. So I like anything clown. So I'm just trying to build my clown collection going. Also, I like hurricanes. So I'm getting into hurricanes. Obviously, I want to get that into clown. And then hopefully I'll be getting a tango off of Rob and Chelsea.
Okay.
CR Snake. So I'm lined up for that. I want to get into that as well. So yeah, that's so far is me as a scout.
What are you going to do with tango? Clown as well?
Yeah, I think so. Has anyone done that?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably some.
But yeah. So that's what I'd probably be doing. Yeah.
Interesting. So aside from clown and hurricane, is there anything else that you're working with, or is that sort of your main focus? And
like
what you're
chocolate
really putting
as
the money
well.
into? Okay.
Trying to get the chocolate into clown.
Getting into clown.
What else have I got? God damn. On the spot now. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Now, I have got... thing is, my missus gets in my house. So we've got a bit of pied going on because she likes pied. I've got a champagne het clown as well, female. So we're getting some champagnes. That's more for her. Trying to keep her on... on
keep her on
the same side and all that. Yeah, so she gets her little things as well. I'm like, So yeah, things like that. I try and think now.
So what's your sort of 3 to 5 year plan? Where do you want to be in sort of 3, 4, 5 years time with it?
Yeah, I want to work towards getting a Pompeii, to be fair. That is, so I'm trying to get everything lined up for that.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm not a long planner. I just, every little bit, I'm just doing each bit at a time.
So how many clutches you on for this season, or?
9
okay.
out of 10.
And is it first season?
No, this is the third, so I was
okay.
straight in there. So I literally got my Mojave growing up. I went straight and bought a Mojave female, and then a lesser. So that was like my first season was that, and I think I had a pinstripe to a GHI on my first season. Last season went the best, I didn't think. I can't even remember now. And then this is my first proper big one.
Yeah.
So about 10 clutches I wanted, and I got 9.
That's good going.
Yeah, which isn't too bad. So it's the one that didn't go was my blade climb to my hurricane. So that was the one where I really wanted to go, but it just happened to be that's the only one that didn't. But
ouch.
Yeah, which is a pain, but that's all right because I am trying to make one that Justin Kabalka made. It's a butter leopard, leopard butter. I think what else is in that? It's a het clown to a hurricane clown, and it looks amazing. So I'm trying to replicate what he did with that at the minute.
I think everyone's chasing stuff that he's done, isn't it?
Yeah, but as soon as I seen that, I was like, that's amazing.
The stuff that he's got and the stuff he produces is ridiculously advanced compared to what other people are doing.
That's yeah.
You could stop him breeding for 5 years and he'd still be putting stuff out that would be better than most people.
Mad.
So next season, what are you aiming for numbers wise? What do you want to produce in clutches?
I'm hoping I've got a few others coming through. There might be a bit hit or miss if they'll be up to weight or not, but hopefully I'm trying to go for a Batman. I think I might have next coming season. What else? And just trying to get my clowns up together again.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay. So Patreon, how have you found the Patreon with Urban Constrictors?
To be fair, it's pretty decent. I've literally just paid the first month and I'm up here doing a podcast. So to be fair, that's money well spent. So you can't knock that. And to be fair, it's just a good community in there. And, any issues, there's always someone in there.
What were the sort of main reasons for joining for you?
Probably Paul. I probably wouldn't have went to high tier, but as it's just Paul, he's got so much good stuff that you can see. So I thought, got to be high tier, and then what he offered, I just thought, let's just get in it.
Access to the animals.
Yeah,
and things like that.
it's just worth every penny, isn't it? In my opinion.
So when you was first sort of coming into the hobby and sort of starting out, who were the people that were sort of inspiring you the most?
When I first said, so it's probably YouTube. So I just went mad on YouTube watching everyone. So it probably was Bulls You, watch his video, even Predator BP, because he's like one of the main things. It didn't take you long to realise, to think, actually this dude's a thing. But and then Paul, when I come across him, I was watching like how he built, his facility and all that, and then so I knew Paul straight away was like proper and he had nice stuff. So
Best advice you was given when you entered the hobby?
It was always just don't go buy everything. And like yeah, but you always I did anyway. Even like after I was like it just happens, doesn't it? You just everyone says to do it, and everyone gets told, but you still just do it.
Everyone impulse buys.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's natural, isn't it?
And then now you're just trying to filter it out now.
Yeah, I still do it. There's stuff I see that I look and I just can't pass up because it's too nice.
Yeah.
I don't particularly have any plans when I buy it, but I'll find something to do with it.
That's it.
Even if it means I have to buy more, I'll find something to do. So, best and the worst things about the hobby for you?
The best is just meeting people. It's just been, for me, I've met so many good people, and it's brilliant. And then the worst is probably just Facebook, I suppose. People on there, because they're brutal. I remember when I had my first one, obviously they couldn't sex it in the shop, so I popped it and I put, this is like before I even popped it, and I put it on Facebook. What's this, a male or female? And everyone's like, you shouldn't be doing that. If you don't even know what it is, you should be popping. It's like, you could hurt the animal. And some people are like that. Some people stuck up and said, well, he obviously knows what he's doing. I obviously didn't. I just watched a YouTube video and popped it. But
the amount of people that say, oh, you shouldn't be doing it, I bet they've never had anyone show them, or they've never.
No, so that's why I was
just gone.
I was like, shit, Facebook's brutal. So that's why I haven't really gone there. And then just like, I suppose everyone just trying to mug people off, like that type of, even just with logos or anything. There's always someone.
There's always a drama on Facebook.
There's
always a drama on Facebook. There's never a day where I don't go on there and someone's not slagging someone else.
No, yeah.
always happens.
So I say for me, that is it really. That's the only badness I've kind of experienced, and too much.
So talking of social media, where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but Instagram is my main one.
And what do you go under on Instagram?
Just Bristol Balls on both of it, Bristol Balls.
Cool.
And on YouTube as well.
Get over and follow it.
Yeah.
And you're on YouTube as well?
Yeah, do a little bit, nothing much.
What's the YouTube channel like? Any plans to grow it or do more of it?
It's more because everyone was scamming, so I just thought, if I put my face out there, hopefully someone could just say, nah, he seems like alright, and then that's it. That's it, really.
Bit of validation and things.
Yeah, because there's so many, like I said, so many scammers out there. It's just, you never know. Like that's my first worry when it's just send me money and I'll send you steak. And I'm like, oh really? I didn't even know you, and you're like, but then you kind of know you can trust, you work that out. But so yeah, my YouTube is just really for that. Really started off with my little lad. He wanted to do it. He's grown up and just left me now. He don't want nothing doing it anymore. Like, so yeah.
So you still putting videos out?
Yeah, every now and then. Yeah. So yeah, check it out.
There we go. Right. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll get the next victim on in a moment. So yeah, thank you very much.
Sweet, cheers.
Sitting here with Owen from OD Constrictors. Thanks very much.
Good to be here.
So obviously you've had time to listen to the questions before you, so you should be a lot more prepared.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So yeah, brief description of sort of why, when, how, what got you into reptiles.
Well, started when I was about 10 with a pair of corn snakes I bought from this reptile shop that I've been quite loyal to over the years, really. Helped me a lot. But yeah, I bought a pair of corn snakes, bred them, and then I'd sell the babies back to that reptile shop. And then I guess I done a lot, watched a lot on YouTube, so started seeing ball pythons on YouTube and stuff. Didn't know a lot about them, but went and bought a female. First ball python was like a spinner.
Yep.
And yeah, then after a couple, probably about a year, started really looking into the morphs and stuff, and ended up buying a pair of a pair of albino pieds from Donny, and then it sort of just grew from there, to be honest. I looked more into it.
What sort of year was that you was buying the albino pieds?
That would have been, 2 years ago? Come up 3 years, probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So not long at all, to be honest. And then started getting into clown. That's what it is now. Clown.
Okay. And have you had any seasons yet, or is this coming up to your first season?
Well, I had a clutch last year before, but now this is my proper.
You real sort of entry into it.
Yeah,
okay.
sort of proper season coming up.
So what you mentioned clown there, what sort of genes are you working with and what sort of projects are you pursuing?
Really like the chocolate clown, so got a couple of things for that. Banana, spot nose, sort of like heading towards like the darker contrasting clowns. Yeah, Dark Knights is the ultimate goal.
Okay,
I'd say, with the
there's a lot of people that are chasing those, aren't there?
Yeah.
So clown is your main focus. Are you still doing stuff with like the albino pieds? Is that still on the radar, or is that sort of gone to the back a little bit?
Yeah, I paired my female to a visual clown this year to make some triple hats. Just I don't have a lot of pied stuff, so I've kind of veered away from the pieds.
Yeah.
But yeah, just get something off of her.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Keep a couple things from her. I don't really know what I'll do with the babies. Probably keep, if I get some females, I'll probably keep a couple of females.
Yeah, absolutely. So 3 to 5 year sort of plan, where do you want to be? What do you want to achieve, or what do you want to progress in that sort of time?
Look, making cool visual clowns is my goal. Grow the collection a bit more. But just not buying stuff that I don't need, like grow it like quality.
Yeah.
Keep the numbers down, but producing quality animals. Reinvest it into another recessive, probably like Desert Ghost or something like that. Desert Ghost clowns, I love them.
I don't think you can go wrong with Desert Ghost or clown at the moment.
No, exactly.
Those two genes at the moment in terms of value are just flying still.
Yeah.
Everyone wants them. People can't produce enough of them to keep up with the demand at the moment. So you get them in together. I mean, Desert Ghost clowns are still going for what, $8 grand, $9 grand a piece. So
yeah, and there's a lot to be done with it. It's still
100%, loads and loads to be done. So long term, what's the plan for you? Because obviously you're still quite young. Is this something that you want to turn into more of a career and a profession, or are you going to sort of see where it leads and see what happens?
That's the goal. Career, do it full time eventually. Not going to uni, so got a lot of time. Got a lot of time to do it. But yeah, still young, still got a lot of time. That's the ultimate goal, to be making a living off of it, because it's been my dream job since I was really young, working with animals. Always been into reptiles, so that would be sort of the dream. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I don't think there's that many people that do it professionally or full time in the UK.
No.
Who are just doing the snakes for it.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely opportunity there. The market in the UK is completely different to what you see in the US and stuff, but I think there is still scope for someone to come in and do it properly. And Paul's evidence of that you can do it full time and you can make a good living out of it. So you mentioned YouTube at the start. Who was you watching when you were sort of first coming into the hobby and learning?
Probably when I first got into it, I was watching Brian Barchett.
Yeah.
Because he's been mega popular on YouTube when I was first watching it. I don't know, just the odd video, to be honest. Not like people in particular, just people that were breeding, producing cool stuff. Justin, of course.
Yep.
Bit of Aussie as well. But just random videos that no one in particular, but of course I was watching a lot of Justin, and then I started watching Paul as well, and then that spurred into what I'm doing now. Yeah,
no, absolutely. So again, with the Patreon, what were your main sort of reasons for joining the Patreon? What was you expecting to get out of it, and sort of what were the bonus selling points for you?
Not a lot of people with knowledge that can help me, because obviously I'm still new, still a lot to learn. Obviously I love the stuff that Paul's doing, and kind of what he's going on is kind of the goal. So if he's kind of doing what I want to do,
that sort of experience and that investment and that business knowledge with it is sort of invaluable if you do want to do this full time, really.
Yeah.
How are you finding the Patreon?
Really good, actually. Yeah, a lot of helpful people on there. Obviously there's a lot of good people on there. In terms of buying snakes and stuff, there's a lot being put up, and obviously you get first choice on what
early access and things.
What Paul puts up, so that's a big benefit. and mainly just to get knowledge from other breeders that have been doing it longer than me.
I think that's the main selling point for most people, isn't it? Is like we were saying before, like Facebook is toxic and it can be a terrible place. That just getting away from that and that sort of negativity, and yeah, okay, cool, you pay for the Discord, whatever, but sometimes I'd pay just to get away from Facebook. It's quite crap.
That's why I haven't even gone to Facebook. I just don't want to.
I barely use it. I barely, especially for like any reptile or snake stuff. I think I've got a business page on there still, but I barely update it.
Yeah, I made an account and put like one post on there, but
yeah, Instagram is what I use mainly more than anything. It's just a hell of a lot easier.
And people are a lot nicer on Instagram as well. So.
Yeah, 100%. I think Instagram's more, if people don't like something or they don't want to see something, they just continue to scroll past.
Yeah.
But Facebook, they have to put an opinion on it. And it's just like,
just got to share what they say.
No one cares. Just carry on, do what you're doing. So, best and worst things about the hobby for you?
Best thing, probably the people. I love what that like. It's so diverse and what people can produce. Like, there's always something new coming out that you can strive to make. Worst thing, probably the toxicity between like people in the community. Like, someone's always got to have something to say, maybe. But there's not a lot of bad things about it.
No, I think most people will say the same sort of thing as you said. The best part is the community, and the worst part is the community. Yeah. I think they're so fractioned and sort of fragmented and sectioned off into places that. But I think people just get lost in the hype a bit and follow other people's lead far too much. Yeah. And it needn't be like that. There's absolutely no reason. And I've said it before, like the actual reptile or the royal python community in the UK, everyone makes out like it's huge and it's massive. It's not. It's fairly small.
Yeah. Compared to
most people
America.
know who's in it, and okay, there might be thousands of people keeping reptiles, but those that are actually active and actually doing things, there's probably not more than a couple of hundred.
No.
So it just makes no sense to be at like loggerheads all the time with someone that's doing the same thing as you.
Yeah, exactly.
Just completely shutting yourself off to sort of half the market that you're trying to sell animals to, or trying to be part of that sort of section of people. It just makes no sense to me.
And how I said like the diversity and stuff, because there's always something for someone to do. Like if someone doesn't like something, there's hundreds of different morphs for people to work with. Like there's people going to be always working with different things and producing things, and you might not like a gene, but then they add it with something else, and you're.
That's it. If we all liked the same things, it would be boring as well. Every snake producer would be the same, and
exactly.
You'd lose that diversity. So, social media, where can people find you and follow you?
Mainly, only really on Instagram at OD Constrictors, just all one word.
One word.
Yeah.
So go over to OD Constrictors on Instagram, hit follow if you're not already. And other than that, I'm going to wrap it up and say thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
No problem. Sitting here with George from Little's Reptiles UK. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good, man.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
So again, as I said earlier, really, really simple. Sort of give us a brief description of how, why, when, sort of what got you into reptiles or royals.
Yeah. So I've always loved reptiles in general. There's just so much difference within royals compared to a lot of other reptiles you can get. Obviously, colours, patterns, size. You've got different size with them. Things like that. I've had bearded dragons, I've had leopard geckos, and there's not too much variance in comparison. But royals caught my eye. Been doing it for about 3 years. I've had 2 clutches, so I'm not the biggest breeder. I don't even know if I can call myself a breeder, but I'm getting there.
So you've had clutches, you're a breeder.
I've had a couple of clutches. Thankfully, no slugs. All
That's good.
Hatched. Yeah, I was quite lucky with that. Something I've always wanted to do. I love breeding animals. End up seeing something that's on its own to something with something else, turn it into something that's like 8 animals. Just watching things grow. I like watching things grow.
Okay.
But,
And that's what sort of got you into it.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what are your sort of main genes, your main focus that you're working with? What do you want to pursue the most?
So I love GHI. I know that's codon, but I think GHI works well in quite a few recessives. Recessives are like clown, like desert ghost, things like that. That new zebra gene, not new, but the zebra gene that people are starting to work with looks
Yeah.
quite good.
Yeah, some in the US have dropped sort of monsoon to go towards zebra, haven't they?
Yeah, I like all that sort of stuff. Like Mojave, I like the way it reacts with certain things. I like dark genes.
Okay.
Confusion, leopard, black pastel.
Yeah. Fits perfectly with the GHI then, really.
Exactly. Very strong reactions.
Decent. It's actually quite weird because most people say to me, what's your favourite gene, what's your favourite sort of project? Instantly everyone goes towards recessive and clown or DG. So, yeah, I mean, people forget about the codoms, don't they? You're never going to have these ridiculously nice recessive combos without those codoms.
Exactly. You're going to put a standard clown on its own, or you're going to put a clown with GHI and Mojave. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, completely. So, numbers-wise, where are we at with sort of terms of animals that you've got?
I've got 26 at the moment. Some young, some actual adult. A few breeding size females. Just picked up a nice chocolate clown, so that's my new addition.
Yep.
I'm working more with clowns than anything, but I think clown and desert ghosts as recessives are going to be my focus.
Okay.
But I like them with obviously the codoms in, things like that. So working it all in.
Perfect. So, in terms of numbers, where is the sweet spot for you? Where do you want to be at with sort of clutches produced or breeding females?
It's difficult to say because early on I was thinking, just produce as much as you can. But then, in a mature way, I think, do you want to produce as much as you can, or do you want to produce lower numbers with higher quality? So, numbers, I'm not really fussed. I could have one rack with absolute firepower, and then, it would make probably not even in a financial way, but to me it would mean more than if I was to breed just a pastel to a pastel, make super pastels, or just a Mojave GHI. I can make a Mojave GHI, say Desert Ghost Clown, something no one's seen yet, and I've got that in the rack. Yeah, that sort of thing.
That'd be really nice, actually.
Yeah,
something to think about. Definitely. I think it's like you say, numbers it's hard because people go, I'd love to have as many as I can, or I want X amount of numbers. That all comes with a cost. It all comes with a big sacrifice on time, expenditure. It costs just as much to heat, feed, keeping a 500 quid animal alive as it does to keep a $5,000 animal alive. So numbers aren't necessarily always the greatest thing, and I think the way the market's turning as well is recessives, double recessives, double hets and stuff.
Definitely.
A lot of those lesser genes aren't as desirable, aren't as wanted anymore, and you probably would struggle to sell that many unless you had sort of wholesale accounts to get rid of stuff and things like that. But I think going the route you were saying with sort of lesser numbers, high quality is a lot more manageable, and also probably a lot more progressive for what you're doing yourself as well in terms of holdbacks and things like that. So you might only have a few animals to sell each year, but if you're selling them for 3, 4, 5 grand, then
it makes a big difference.
It's a lot easier to sell 3 animals than it is to sell 203.
Yeah, definitely.
So you mentioned sort of clown there being your main focus with Desert Ghost.
Yeah.
What are you doing with those projects at the moment? Have you sort of got any females breeding, or are you sort of making your hets and stuff?
I've got 2 female clowns ready to breed. I've got some nice Desert Ghost males that I'm thinking of putting soon.
Yep.
Not managed to get hold of any clown het Desert Ghost. Like I'd like to make the obviously visual het Desert Ghost, but thinking just making some nice double het holdbacks, work some nice codoms into clown, into DG in the same double het animal. I'm thinking I've got cinnamon, so a dark gene. I've got leopard, work it into my Desert Ghost, work it into the clown, put them together. Hopefully hit something someone's not seen before.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say make the double hets. I don't think there's a wrong time to be making double hets at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if you've got no imminent plans for your clowns. Get the Desert Ghost males in.
Definitely.
Just sit on them, 2-3 years. It'd be so much more beneficial than just putting another clown to it and
100%
keeping a few bits back. So going forward, where do you see yourself, or what do you want to achieve in sort of the next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years, I've got a full bedroom set up for snakes at the minute. It's not full, but I'd like to not fill it, but, have enough firepower in there to just walk in and say, wow, this is the dream already. Have a full rack full of stuff people haven't seen or people have seen before, but you've managed to replicate.
Yeah.
And, you know, be able to say, well, I've made that, or I've bought that and I'm going to make this sort of thing. Yeah. Stuff that people haven't made, to me, is a big aim, you know.
Yeah.
Mostly dark things, like I say. No one's made a DG clown with GHI and Mojave. They're all trying to brighten it up. I'm trying to darken it down. I like the contrast in dark colours with DG. I like the dark style.
3 genes that you haven't got in your collection that you would like to add.
Oh, definitely. Wookiee, Cypress, Zebra. I'd like to work with Zebra.
I haven't seen any in the UK at the moment. I don't know if
I've been
anyone's got
looking.
some sneaky sort of hiding away somewhere, but
there'll be someone with it, but they're not going to share their plans just in case someone
no, not until they've
hops
produced
the
stuff.
train,
Absolutely.
sort of thing.
So, those 3 genes you wanted to add, 3 genes that you don't want to work with, that you don't particularly find appealing.
So I've had the genes, but I don't find them very appealing. Spider, unfortunately, I think it is pretty, but I don't like, obviously, the effects that sometimes come with it. It depends, because you can have nice lines of pastel and you can have really bad lines of pastel. If you've got a bad line of pastel, it's not really something you want in your snakes. You know, I'd rather pastel was out of that sort of thing. Yeah, it's difficult, that one.
Put you on the spot a bit there.
I think some things you like, oh, I don't want it in that, and then you put it in something, it's like, actually, you know what, it really works.
Just need something to change your mind a little bit.
Yeah, just one thing that changes it.
No, I get that. There's, you know, I'm not a particular fan of those Xanthic, but I've seen some nice Xanthic bits lately. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's quite nice. But whether I'd actually go and work with it, I don't know. I just don't have the time to go and start another recessive project, to be honest. But
yeah,
I think Xanthic definitely needs to be a double visual at sort of minimum.
Yeah,
there's not many. There's not many single gene sort of Xanthic combos that I quite like, but Xanthic Desert Ghost looks pretty good.
Yeah,
the Xanthic Pieds look good. Aussie Boys just produced that triple visual, didn't they? That Xanthic, was it an OD Xanthic DG Pied or something crazy?
Yeah,
and that looked really, really nice. So I'd say it's just finding something maybe that gene that just unlocks it or does something a little bit different for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Best and worst things about the hobby for you?
The best thing, I'd say, you're doing something you love every day.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't feel like a chore. Sometimes, I don't know if anyone else feels the same, sometimes with a hobby, it can actually start to feel like a chore, like you've got to keep going. You know, I wake up, first thing I do, go and check all my snakes. And it's not a chore. It's something you enjoy. It's something you take pride in, you know. You check your snakes, they're all in good condition, they're all looking healthy, happy. It makes you happy. You have a good day. I've not really experienced much bad. I'm not on much social media, so I don't see any of this toxicity. I probably would understand it if I saw it, but I'm not involved. I'm not the sort of person that's going to get involved in someone else's business. I keep my opinion to myself most of the time. My opinion's kept to myself unless someone asks. That's the only time it's given.
Yeah.
But I'd say probably impatience. I'm a patient person, but I've got a lot of impatience built up.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've got a snake that you think, you've not fed for 3 weeks, you do it on the 4th. You try on the 4th, right, you do it on the 5th. Bloody hell, you're not doing it, are you? It just gets off.
It's frustrating, isn't it? At times. It can be very frustrating.
Definitely.
Now, obviously, you're on the Urban Constrictors Patreon as well.
Oh, yeah.
What were the sort of main selling points for you and the reasons you decided to join?
Tell you, mate, I was sat there. The video had just premiered from Paul. He just put it up 6 minutes, it was up. I was watching it with my missus. And I'm listening to the perks. I'm like, right, run upstairs. Got my car before the video was finished. Like, subscribe to that. Everything was just a perk. Like, when I saw the price and like what you get for it, you could get half of what he was offering. It's still worth it. Honestly. I just looked at all the perks and I was like, yeah, there's no cons. I don't even care. £30 a month, £36 a month, £40 a month, £50 a month, whatever it is. I'm not going to miss it for the sake of the advice I'm getting. The perks, you know, coming around for a barbecue, meeting Paul in person. Before any of this Patreon, I actually messaged Paul, said, mate, you know, if you're free, would you be able to mentor me? And completely understandable. He said, if I mentored everyone, wouldn't have the time of day. You know, he sold his pet shop. He's now got the time of day and he can offer it at, all right, you call it a price, but it's better than just having a WhatsApp group and saying, this is free and, you know, do this, do that. And I think it's much better. You've got such a good community. Everyone's dead positive about each other. Everyone's trying to help each other.
I think the good thing with Patreon, and people say it costs to be in it and things like that, but everyone who's there is there for the same reason.
Yeah.
And it eliminates sort of the wheat from the chaff, and it puts you in an environment where everyone's got the same ideas, or that it has the same thought processes. Wants to work towards the same thing. So why wouldn't you want to put yourself in a situation where you're surrounding yourself with people that are in a like-minded state?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's, a lot of the times people miss the point on things. And I think it was probably misinterpreted the way it was probably sold on the internet at first. And but anything that everyone does is always going to have its detractors and the people who are completely against what's going on. But
people will see what they want to see at the end of the day.
Yeah, and also it's your money. Spend it on what you want.
Exactly.
It makes no difference to anyone else what you spend your money on. So if you want to spend your money on that, then why not? So social media, where can people find you?
Just on Instagram at the moment. I'm not big on social media, but I've got a page going, Little Reptiles UK _22. That's the only place you can find me at the minute. But I'm not a big social media person. I know I've got to work on it, but that's where you can find me.
There we go. Head on over, click follow, do what you need to do, and thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, I'm Darren from Wild Rex, and you're listening to That Wolfie Rules podcast. If you're in the UK and looking for affordable custom enclosures, check out Wild Rex on Instagram and Facebook. Back to the podcast.
So there we have it, guys. That was Dean from Bristol Bulls, Owen from OD Constrictors, and George from Little's Reptiles. Head on over to their social media pages, drop them a like, follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do to show them some support. Hopefully they've got very bright futures ahead of them in the hobby. Now, as I said at the top of the show, this week's guest, or this month's guest, has been a heavily requested guest, and it has been in the plans for a while. It's just been a bit of a logistical nightmare to sort it out and get it done properly. So I had a bit of free time. We managed to sort something out. Me and Darren Hughes travelled up to Yorkshire, got to sit down, spend a weekend with Paul, and talk snakes, have a look around, and really delve into what's going on. So without further ado, this is Paul Milner of Urban Constrictors. So here we are at Urban Constrictors, and joined by Paul and a few other guests in the background. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for your hospitality over the last couple of days.
Thank you, Tom.
So really brief, quick rundown. How, what, when, why got you into reptiles?
Right. So I started when I was 11. My mum and dad bought me a concert for my birthday, and then later in life, I was a joiner, lost joiner's job when the credit crunch hit, then had to find a profession outside of joinery because of credit crunch. So I set up an aquatic shop, and because I was very passionate about reptiles, I kept green tree pythons for display animals only, didn't sell them, just display animals. And then I watched a program where there was a guy who had some designer ball pythons. It was a pastel sugar. Or it was either sugar or pastel sugar. And I just kind of, caught my attention, gravitated, saw the prices, thought, I can't really afford them. So sat on the sidelines for a bit, but then as prices fell, I got into them, and got back into green trees, and then wanted to turn it my full-time profession. That's the quick version.
That's the quick version. That's right. We'll elaborate on that now. So you said you was a joiner there until the credit crunch hit. What, 2008 was that?
Yeah.
Credit crunch.
So I set my shop up in 2008 into 9.
So you going back before that, your joinery stuff. How long was you doing that for?
About 10 years. I left college, and because I'm dyslexic, and I was setting all the bottom sets at school because I couldn't keep up with the more intelligent people. I was in with the wrong crowd. So all my friends were the bad boys, if you like. So the school saw potential in me with CDT and said, we want to put you in a bridge project, bridging you to college. And I didn't want to do it. And they basically said, you have to do it every Wednesday. You have to go to college. I loved it. I wore my own clothes, didn't wear school clothes, didn't wear school tie. You could be your own person. I remember the teacher said to me, the first thing he said is, you are not my pupils. You are my equal. You are my students. And I was like, this is different. So did joinery for 3 years, and then they said you won't pass your level 4 because of your dyslexia. So they said spread your wings and leave, basically, And then I went onto a building site thinking I was big I am, got all my qualifications, almost all of them. And there was like, you've got, just forget everything you've learned and we're going to teach you. But then I got basically headhunted, and I became a joiner for New World Joinery, and we worked in, and William Birch and Sons, we worked in the most prestigious houses in UK. £86,000 for Sir Richard Story, who's top 10 richest men in country. So I did flooring for him and stuff, and yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it, but then when the credit crunch hit, and that's when my depression started because I couldn't get a job. I was hemorrhaging money. Nothing was coming in apart from dole, what was about 60 quid a fortnight, and I used to earn £1,000 a week. So I used to have, I used to know what it was like to have money in the bank and spend it. And then, so my brother, I was driving along, I'll never forget, and brother rang me up and said, why did you set up a marine shop? I said, I can't do that. He said, you know everything about marines. Slight exaggeration, but I know a lot. So I did. And I didn't look back. I earned miles more money, and I absolutely loved it.
And that was the shop you set up in 2010?
Yeah, no, 2009. We started setting up in late 2008.
Yeah.
We opened it in sort of January, February 2009, and I sold it at Christmas just gone.
So you had it for 13 years?
Yeah.
13. Okay. And did that sort of get you back into the reptiles, or was it mainly just in terms of sort of financial viability for a job?
I think it was both. It was like a segue, because it was segue into the reptiles because, one, I had some money behind me, but also I had a place where I could just buy stuff and put it in, My wife's very supportive of everything I've ever done. There's only one thing she's ever kind of said no to, and that's true, and that's venomous. She said, there's no venomous, nothing that can hurt the children, and that's fine. But I still wanted to have, because I spent more time at work, because I was working 7 days a week, I put the green trees in my second room once I'd expanded. I suppose I gravitated more to them than, let's say, the Marines, because I was doing Marines professionally. I was getting some crazy high-end corals and stuff, and we was fast on the map, and I did really well out of the shop. But I just kind of circled back to reptiles. Either some people say I'm only about the money, and it's just not true. I absolutely love this. Well, with green trees and that, I've had people offer me a lot of money for that black one. I just go, sell it. It means more to me than money.
Yeah. So fast forward from the shop, obviously that goes well. Where does sort of urban constrictors get born? Where does that start from?
So in around 2010 into 11, I can't quite remember the date, but I went back on RF UK and started looking at when I first started posting. And it was around late 2010, I was posting green tree python pictures. Then in 2011, I was posting green tree python and ball python pictures. So it was around sort of 2011. And then come 2013, maybe 14, I branded urban constrictors under a different name. I was putting shockingly bad photos up, quite, low-end animals, nothing to scream about, but some of my animals were better than others because I did have a bit of money behind me, but I was paying nearly $3,000 for a bumblebee. That clown over there, that I think she's 2012, I bought off Dave Rushen when clowns was a lot of money. I bought my very first clown off Dave. And so I wasn't getting noticed. And I was trying. Because I was so big in Marines. People used to drive from London, Scotland, Brazil's a joke. To come to my shop and spend a lot of money. Neil Pratt was here earlier, customer of ours. She calls Dave Ogden. Ben Ogden Reptiles, knew me through the shop. But yeah, so I tried to turn it into a business, and I just failed miserably. And no one noticed me. I had a few followers and a few sales, and I thought, right, this isn't working. So I basically squashed it for a year so people would forget, because people are quick to forget, and rebranded as Urban Constrictors.
Why do you think it failed?
Partly because my photos were terrible, my snakes was average, my collection wasn't too exciting. It was a bit mishmash. I always go back to thinking of a chef having amazing ingredients, but none of them blended. Like a bumblebee and then a pied. I had a clown. I should have put the clown and pie together, but they were both girls. I did buy a Orange Dream very early on from Justin, and I bred Orange Dream to pied and Orange Dream to clown. And that wasn't because I had great vision. It was because I didn't have a better male.
Yeah.
I paid a lot of money for it. It was one of the first. I think it was the first, second or third Orange Dream to come into UK. And Dave Rushen got me it, so credit to Dave from Justin. And this is why I'm passionate about helping people with incubation, because when I was at work, sunlight was coming through the window all day. You know, I was coming home at 6 p.m. Sunlight was lower in sky. It was cooling off. My reptile room wasn't too hot. My incubator was the correct temperature. But I forgot to press the Exoterra highs and lows because that's what I was using. I still use them today, and they are the same ones. They're, you know, many years old, but they work. And I didn't realise, but the sunlight coming through the window was heating my incubator up. So I hatched kinked, deformed snakes, but also there was also obviously snakes dead in the egg. There was orange dream het pies dead in the egg, orange dream het clowns dead in the egg, or kinked. And if that hadn't have happened, I potentially would have been the first person to ever hatch orange dream clowns and orange dream pies, and they became my nemesis. So in the end, I bought an orange dream clown off Aussie, that's behind George, and then I bought like the super orange dream pie combos off Aussie too, because I just couldn't hatch them. Same with yellow belly clown. That's my nemesis. They're my free nemesis.
So you squashed urban constrictors for a year.
No,
well, it wasn't urban constrictors.
You know,
what was the name?
I can't remember the name. I wish I could. It wasn't Paul's Balls, but that was on the because it's a bit tongue in cheek, and then Bob came out with that, and I thought, well, I'm glad I didn't use it because Bob owns that name. I can't remember what it was, mate. My wife might remember, but unfortunately, I can't.
So you squashed that, and then a year later, urban constrictors comes up.
Yeah.
What was your thought process behind restarting it? Was it always with the intention to turn it into a business, or was it just to turn it back into something you enjoyed to get noticed again?
No, I wanted to turn it into a business because I'd put so much time into the shop. It was unbelievable how much I used to work, and that's why I feel so blessed now. But I was missing my eldest son growing up. It would say to me, "Daddy, are you working this week?" And I'd say, "Yeah," and he'd look gutted. I thought, I've got to do something that I can tear away from the shop. So that's why 3 years ago, I rang a lad who used to work for me, Duncan Lister, who worked for me for about 5 or 6 years. Fantastic guy, fantastic member of staff. But he left to do lecturing in university. Very clever guy. And I was talking to a customer of mine who Duncan used to maintain his tanks. So I was talking to this customer called Clive, and Clive said, why don't you ring Duncan up and just say, look, I'll just leave the shop to you, give you a fantastic wage, give you commission, and then you can go off and breed your snakes and do whatever weird stuff you want to do. So that's what I did. So for the last 3 years, from Christmas just past, 3 years prior to that, Duncan ran the shop for me. So I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So I focused completely on urban constrictors. And then I realised, Duncan then decided to leave because a guy approached him who was in the music industry who has some properties, commercial properties. And he said, I'll set up a marine shop if you'll work in it, run it, and after 10 years, I'll give you it. So that's a great incentive for Duncan. So Duncan left, and fair enough on that one. You know, you can't fault him. And I just thought, you know what? I want to put everything into urban. I don't want nothing to need my attention, so I sold my shop to a very close friend of mine, and I'm still invested in one way or another in the shop, and I'm still helping it, but it's not my shop no more.
Okay.
You know.
So Urban Constrictors is born in what, 2015?
Yeah, it's like 15, maybe 16. It's probably it was late 16 because I started YouTube in 17.
So what sort of difficulties and challenges did you face getting Urban up as a running up into a business, or what sort of hardships were there?
No, everyone loves a little hardship story. Like I could tell you a lot about the Marines, but no, not only the financial side. You know, I'd go on, Reptile Ring, what was Morph Market then, and RF UK and Captive Bred, and look at snakes I couldn't afford. But, there wasn't a lot of hardships. Started with DIY racks, made my own. Massive tubs, what you could keep boas in. Never had no problems feeding them. And when you got a small collection, you can focus on them, can't you? You can focus, 20, 30 minutes on one snake at a time. When you got more snakes, you can't do that. But there wasn't no hardships really. What
sort of numbers were you working with when you sort of first started?
When I first started, I had a rack of 8, what was really big tubs. I put my first ball python was a spider het hypo. And I put her in there. She was about 90 grams when I got her. And you could have put a good-sized boa in that, and she just never missed a feed, that girl. She was good. She was them big IKEA tubs. Okay. So it was a DIY rack. On my 10-year sort of video, what was more like 11 years, I actually feature it in the background in some of my video, in some of the segments of the video. But yeah, so I had that, and then I bought a second-hand rack off someone what held about 12. Then I got my shop staff to custom build me 2 more racks, and I got to like, what was it, 40. And then I just thought, you know what, I need a bigger space because I saw the potential in it. So then I rented an office space in York Eco Business Centre, filled it with snakes. I told them I'd have 4 or 5 snakes in there. I had about 150. And one day they rang me and they said, Paul, we need to do a test on the smoke alarm. I said, you can't go in that room. And she said, we need to go in, Paul. I said, I'm actually currently moving house and I've got some expensive paintings. First thing that popped into my head, I don't have no expensive paintings. I said, you can't go in there. I've got jewellery. She knows I've got jewellery. I've got watches. I said, all my stuff's in there. I'm sorry, you just can't go in. And then I quickly moved out shortly after. I'll never forget that. But yeah, so I never really had any hardships. But, you know, one thing I should have done in the early days is be my best customer. That term gets thrown around a lot. And everyone's like, I'm my best customer. But we've all learned that from the Garrick DeMeyers, the Justin Cabelkas of the world. You know, Garrick's best customer is Garrick. Justin's best customer. You know, if Justin wants to keep an animal, you can't get it off him. You cannot get it
completely. So how did you scale up then from sort of those 8, sort of 12 that you had to the numbers you are now?
With my wages, you know. I was making good money with shop. So, and I could invest some of the shop money in stock and then just choose to keep the stock, you know. Everything was mine. You know, I had crocodilians and stuff, so it was all mine. So, you know, I used to just cherry pick. But I didn't take many shop snakes because most of them wasn't high end enough, but I just used my wages. Oh, and then, sorry, I forgot a section. And I've told George about this and a few others, but this is something I've actually kept quite a secret, and it's simply because a year or 2 ago, someone wrote on a Facebook group, would you ever consider getting a bank loan to buy snakes? And everyone just said that's the most mental thing you should ever do. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's what I did. I was sat, we had a little office in corner of our living room to do all our books and, you know, bookkeeping and finances and stuff. And I was sat there looking at Justin Cabelka's master list, and I turned around to my wife and I said, Emma, I said, if you was me, would you just get a big bank loan and buy some snakes? She went, yeah, if it make you happy. I can't type fast, but that time I typed real fast. There was a bit of smoke coming off the old fingers. And within about 15 minutes, I got a 30 grand loan from from HSBC. And I spent it with Justin. I just spent it all with Justin.
How do you decide what to invest in when you're looking at things?
Clowns, 'cause I love clown. People think, not a lot of people say this. I maybe stretch the truth on this because I always say people think I get clowns because of Justin. Like Justin's bought green tree pythons, so in 4 years everyone will say, there I go again. Everyone will say, 1 or 2 people will say, oh, Paul buys green tree pythons because Justin's had them. I've had them for the last 12 years, 13 years. But I bought clowns because for me, clown is king. It will never not be king. People have challenged me on that saying, well, puzzle will be. I said it won't be. So people have challenged me on that saying puzzle will overtake clown and stuff, but I don't think it will, simply because with clowns, you can have super reduced clowns, you can have super busy clowns, you can have very light coloured, very dark coloured, you can have obviously clown pieds. There's nothing, in my opinion, there's nothing really you can't do with clown. And yes, things like Desert Ghost will polish it. But to me, like I said to you over there, Tom, for me, clown is the car, Desert Ghost is the polish. The car looks better for having the polish, but clown is the automobile. It's, you know, the everything. So I don't think clown needs Desert Ghost, but it certainly helps. You know, puzzles are amazing, but I don't think you certainly can't at the moment do what you can with clown, what you can with puzzle.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, clown will be king. That's what I gravitated to, loved it. And that's, I think, was my good luck in the industry because I invested in the right snakes. 1 or 2 of my purchases wasn't ideal. Like, I bought a super pastel. It was a super pastel fire leopard clown. I paid $7,500 off Justin. I bought a super fly clown. What's a super pastel fire clown? Still on her today. Every single year she lays me 9, 10 plus eggs. so some of my purchases, like I bought a pastel spot nose clown, everything had pastel in.
Yeah.
So that was an Achilles heel, but because pastel clowns used to be so incredibly popular, there was practically the first ever amazing clown.
Yeah.
I kind of hit the ground running, but I also had that Achilles heel. So it used to trip me up every now and again. So that's why slowly I weaned some of the pastel out. Got to keep some, obviously. But I weaned some of it out and brought new greens in, like obviously black pastel, red stripe, stuff like that.
Okay. So obviously you invest in the animals, you get to a stage where you're growing. How did you then decide what to keep going forward, what you was going to sort of selectively breed to get to the numbers where you are today?
I don't know if I necessarily totally had that vision, to be quite honest with you. I think a lot of it was just, I was just enjoying it so much, and hatching snakes, it's, you know, creating anything, whether you're breeding dogs, horses, you know, snakes, whatever. I think there's a real sense of achievement, and I'll never forget what Mark Mandic said at Marcus Journey. He said, always put something in your path that makes you really happy. This is my, you know, happy space. So I was just producing cool clown combos, and I just, you know, kept a lot of girls back. I'm not going to pretend I had this amazing vision, because I didn't. I was just going along with ride. That's why I believe if I had the vision, like Will Murray's RCR, like he once said, and it really hit home. He said, if I have a clown, I don't breed a clown to it. He said, that's just stupid. He said, if I have a clown, I breed a puzzle to it, or I breed a Des Ghost to it. Obviously, as you grow and you create numbers, then you can put clown to clown, pied to pied. Yeah. But when you're starting off, you're better off suited mixing the recessives up to give you a stronger foundation to move forward and a brighter future. You know, so I wish I had that vision, but I didn't. I was just making cool clowns, you know, pairing what I had together and just keeping some bits back. But I was under the impression females had to be a minimum of 3 years old, 1,500 grams, you know. You had to stand on one leg when you paired them, all that sort of stuff. And then I, you know, more recently found out once so true.
So you get to where you are now. Clutch-wise, what are you sort of expecting, and what do you aim for each year, and how do you sort of plan your pairings going forward?
Yeah, so a few questions there. So my clutches now, I aim for around 60, because there's 121 breeder females there, but the top level's brand new. So I had 110-ish breeder females, but some of them are sub-adult, so they can't be bred. But I breed about 90 girls and aim for 60 clutches. I know some people get, well, potentially better numbers, but, you know, if you've got 10 females, you can focus so much on them. You're probably going to get 8 or 9 to go. In the early days, I was getting, you know, 90%. But now I try and work on around 60, 70%, and I'm roughly achieving that. This season's late for me, very late. It's the latest one I've ever had, and I am a bit nervous about that this season because I don't have the financial backing of my shop and stuff. So I will be honest and say I'm a little bit nervous about this season. Hopefully it'll all be good in the end, but we'll see. I'll still hatch some amazing stuff. But I just aim for about 60. That's, you know, it's a good number. I will say 60 clutches is a lot. It's a lot of work. It's more than you'd think. But once I get my rodent breeding operation up to full capacity, which it should be in about a month, then it'd be a lot easier to manage.
Do you plan to do more clutches per year, or is it sort of 60s?
No, in this room about 60. I think that's roughly the sweet spot. I might be able to push it because I get another rack next week to live here. But I'm pointing and we're on a podcast, so there we go. To live in this corner.
Visual
here.
cues.
Yeah. So, yeah, I might be able to push that number up, but 60 is a good number for me. Sorry to interrupt. The thing is, I'd rather have 40 high-end clutches than 60 run-up mill clutches.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So something you sort of touched on there was not having the sort of the financial backing of the shop anymore. How easy was the decision to sell the shop to solely concentrate on urban?
Yeah, if I didn't sell the shop, I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. No, it's serious. My depression was just beating the living daylights out of me. I was in a bad place. So I had to leave, and it's the best thing I ever did. It's the best thing I ever did. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
So something that you've obviously been quite vocal about in the past, and sort of you mentioned there was the mental health. how has the sort of mental health been affected or sort of helped in a way with the hobby? How has that sort of alleviated any symptoms or stress? Or
it's just working from home's just amazing. You know, it's not 100% there, because you know some days you feel a bit lonely. You do, you know, but you know you're not stuck in traffic. It's weird. Once you start working from home, you say it sounds mental, but you start realizing how much money you save. I don't put hair products in my hair. I don't put aftershave on. You know, I don't have to wear nice clothes. You know. And there's so many benefits. I don't have to waste money on fuel driving to work. It takes me about 12 seconds to walk to work. And I walk over a bridge of water. It's nice. So I've set things in my path to make me happy. And being around my kids, I finish in here most days for about 3:15, and my kids get home at 3:25. So I'll be in the shower when they arrive, and then I just have family time and social media time and stuff. And I think it's completely changed my life. That's why I'm so passionate about if other people want to do it, you know, and that's why obviously I set the Patreon up. But people will say, well, if you're that passionate, why didn't you just do it for free? Because if someone gives a commitment, if someone gives something up for the information, they're more likely to listen to it. When I was a joiner, true story, when I was a joiner and we was all mucking around in class, there was an older guy there. It was you know, a biggish bloke. You won't want to really upset him. He used to turn around and scream, "Will you effing stop doing this? Will you lot get this for free? I'm paying for this." And that resonated with me. I thought, yeah, he's give up a sacrifice. Everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. So you have to give a sacrifice to get to your heaven. So this is mine. And then I thought, right, if people really want the true nitty-gritties and how to turn this into a business, and you don't have to be you don't have to have Miguel money to get it off the ground, but you won't be doing Miguel money, you know, in clutches. But, you know, if you want to get it off the ground, I can certainly help you achieve it in a faster way without, you know, the Miguel money type thing, and just give you the focus I wish I had before. You know, like some of the stuff I've touched base on. So
you mentioned the Patreon there. How has that sort of been received, and how does the negative stuff that's been like plastered all over Facebook and whatever, how does that affect you now with your mental health?
So fortunately, like I said on our meal last night, I said it to Darren, 5 years ago that would have done me in. It would have been bad. It would have been suicide thoughts. But now, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. And it's not the tablets, believe me, it's not the tablets. It's just, the truth is, so there's a shop in England, and people know it, called The Abyss Aquatics in Stockport. It's owned by a guy called Mark. Mark is arguably the most disliked man in the country, but he arguably has the best shop in the country. He has, you know, he has more money in stock than Urban Constrictors and Ocean Corals combined. It's eye-watering the amount of stock. And I once said to him, before I opened a shop and we were cool, I said, Mark, and I meant it a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I said, Mark, how does it feel to be the most disliked man in this industry? Because I love the industry, and I thought, I never want to be like that. And I said, how does it feel to be the most disliked man in Marines? And he said, Paul, he said, you'll one day learn that any publicity is good publicity. And I walked out of that shop thinking, you're an absolute toffee. Being slagged off is not good. So when all that drama with certain people were saying, you know, don't join his Patreon, don't do this, you know, I can teach you free of charge. I kind of thought back to what Mark was saying. And all I did was push my profile up because, I shouldn't really say this because I want them to carry on talking. But if people are talking about you, you're current. It's when they stop. And that's why I haven't replied to any of them. I haven't stuck up for myself or done whatever, because I'm not giving them the limelight they're giving me. And yes, it will turn some people off, that's a fact. But they're the people I don't necessarily want to be associated with anyway. If they can't see it for what it is, like the guys in this room can, then it's like, well, you do you and I'll do me. I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not forcing anyone to do anything. So you can come in and out as much or as little as you want. You can sign up for a month and leave immediately, and you'll still get that full month because you paid for it. So, you know, it's one of them that you have to invest in your future, and this is just another way to do it. And I know look at the Americans. Them three Americans are the most. They see, well, and I'll probably put George in that as well. Them four people are probably the people that have been so positive towards me and so like, this is just amazing. I'm so thankful for you for doing it. I'm like, well, I'm thankful to you guys too. So,
how are you finding the Patreon so far?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Because Facebook, for me, I don't like Facebook. I don't put pictures. I don't put photos up of what I'm having for tea. I don't put pictures of my kids up unless they do a belt testing or something. Like when they get their black belt test later this year, hopefully they'll pass, and I'll put pictures up of that. But other than that, I don't really post on Facebook because I find it a negative place. Instagram is too fast paced. So Instagram people don't conversate much. They're not getting into deep conversation and building relationships. So I felt a void coming from the reptile. Coming from the reptile forum days, there was something missing in my social media life, if you like. And Patreon has absolutely filled it. And because we have very strict rules about no negativity, no slagging people off, even if they're attacking me, they're not getting slagged off or talked about on the group. We say morning every day, and I love that. It's just all positive, and I absolutely love it. I really do.
No, I think it's probably massively misinterpreted and misconstrued when it was announced, and I think there was always going to be detractors and people that sort of took away from it. And yeah, I think there's always going to be detractors and people that would be disagreeing with it and taken away from it just because of not that it was anything to do with patrons, because it was from you.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably the main reason. I don't think it has anything to do with Patreon. There's plenty of people out there who've got Patreon pages.
But they all got it.
Yeah, Justin's got it, Ozzy's got it.
They all warned me. Not all of them, but a few of them warned me. They said, Paul, just get ready for the tsunami.
So that leads us into the next question. Best and worst things about the hobby for you?
The worst is a small group of people that just attack people online, and it's normally not me, because there's some people that'll struggle with that behind closed doors. So they're the worst, but you're going to get that in every walk of life. And the best thing is you guys.
So what would your advice be to anyone that is sort of struggling with mental health going forward? Either just outside of the hobby?
Don't want to talk too much about mental health, but cause most people don't find it entertaining. But I don't know, just stay positive and keep working towards getting better, because it will happen. Dr. Hughes told me it'll happen, and I didn't think it would, and it did, obviously. But I had to structure things in my life that would bring more happiness than pressure. I had to relieve myself of pressure. Selling the shop was a pressure release. Financially, it hurt me a little bit, but I don't have the pressure of the shop. An aquatic shop is a lot of pressure because there can be floods, there can be, lots of elements to that shop that can go horribly wrong. You're constantly working with electricity and water, so, even electric shocks and stuff. If a heater breaks in a sump, you could blow your brains out of one of your members of staff or your own, so you've got to be very careful with certain things. But I had to just take the pressure off myself, and selling the shop was a pressure release. And then working with these, as much, I do still work a lot. I don't work any close to the hours I used to work, but doing this and been around like-minded breeders who are genuinely excited about their pairings and clutches and stuff, it's all positive in it. So that's why if there's any drama, whether it's about me or not, I don't get into it, because I'm not going to waste my time casting negativity on someone else. I have to respect their opinion. I don't have to agree with it, but I have to respect it, or accept it. Maybe I have to accept it, but I just keep doing me. Keep it moving.
So, talking of moving, what is your sort of 5-year plan for Urban Constrictors? What do you want to achieve or progress with in that sort of time frame?
Yeah, so I'm probably going to possibly going to stay in the house with the same, setup, facility, whatever you want to call it. Probably for about 5 years, and then potentially look at moving. The only thing that's in the back of my mind is, we've talked about this, house prices, arguably, since Doomsday, double every 10 years. So in 10 years, houses will be obviously twice as expensive, and my wages might not be twice as good. So I'm a little bit eager to maybe get moved and build a bigger facility, but I'm more than happy where I'm at the moment. And the thing is, I'm just going to be super, what's the word? I'm going to be super careful about what I keep. I'm going to have less holdbacks, but more powerful ones. Because sometimes it's nice to sell an animal for $5 and $6 grand, you know, pays bills, you know. It makes you feel good. It makes me feel good. I love selling high-end snakes. You know, there's a real buzz about it. And the receivers are always happy because they bought a $6 grand snake. They love it. So, you know, it's positivity all around. But sometimes I just need to think, nah, I'll just keep it. I need to be a better customer for myself.
How do you try and structure your holdbacks each season? Is there a number that you work to, or do you just go on what you sort of like the look of the most?
Do I what, sorry?
How do you like sort of structure what you keep and what you hold back?
Well, just what'll fit in my plans. Like if I breed, for instance, a black pastel red striped clown to a orange dream clown, just use that. If I hit the orange dream black pastel clown, then obviously I would just keep it. It's very simple like that. But then obviously I've got 3 tiers of pairings in urban currently, but that's about to dramatically change. Tier 1 was shop stock. So I would create stock just to put into my shop to sell into going to pet homes. When I miss the odds, when I hatch normals, you know, if you put a so-and-so het clown to a clown or to a clown combo and you hit a normal, you know, shop stock, it's great. Then I have tier 2, which is like my good clown to good clown, or puzzle or whatever. So sunset. And then I have tier 3, which is the most important tier, but the most difficult one, and the more longer term tier, because you put in, for instance, a pastel orange dream yellow belly weirdo puzzle to a desert ghost. Like I've just hatched them
project
now.
Stuff.
Yeah, real project stuff. So them are difficult because if you hatch all males, you've really not done very well. But also, even if you get the perfect odds, then you're growing them up. And with like my chocolate desert ghost het hypo breeding the pastel leopard clown pied now, obviously I need good sex ratios. But you know, it's going to be a long while till you reap the benefits of that. But that's what's gonna keep you strong and current in the industry. But as a byproduct of pairing some of them snakes, like when people are pairing triplet to triplet or quadruplet to quadruple het, forgetting the codoms, you're going to make a lot of possets. So I'm trying to work out in my own head where the market's going to go and how that's going to affect buying in the future. Because one thing I don't want to do is just constantly churn out lots of possible triple or quadruple hets, you know, because that won't keep the wheels turning good enough. But you've also got to have some of them to create them mind-blowing animals and to keep you strong and current in the market.
3 genes that you work with, what would you put as your sort of top 3 genes?
What, including all?
Including all, yeah.
Clown first, Cypress second, and I'd say Sunset third. Sunset excites me so much simply because I love it when people say this. So I'll say like, oh, I love sunsets, and I'll say sunsets are brown, but so are yellow bellies. And you want yellow belly in every project. There's not one project, in my opinion, that you don't want yellow belly in, and it's a brown snake. And it has the unfortunate position that when you double up on it, it creates an almost white snake. It creates an ivory snake. So that's got a real Achilles heel, but also you can add leopard to that and make it look cool and blah, blah, blah. But with sunsets, yes, they're brown, but so is Orange Dreams. And Ozzy said this isn't me being disrespectful. Ozzy said the first Orange Dreams was 10% better than a normal. Now Orange Dreams are incredible. In 10 years, a straight sunset will be exquisite. It will be orange. It will be stunning. And we've only just got started. So me, Clown's King, I absolutely love Cypress. It's actually overtaken Orange Dream, because Orange Dream was the king for me, but Cypress, in my opinion, is better. And Sunset. And then probably maybe Puzzle and Desert Ghost. But Desert Ghost, to me, is just a tool. It's just a tool. That's all it is. Because for me, if I had a straight puzzle, a straight clown, a straight desert ghost, even a straight hypo, a straight whatever, I wouldn't pick the desert ghost. I don't think, like, a pastel desert ghost is a stunning snake, but for me, it's just a polished pastel. So, like, a pastel clown is an amazing snake, but it's just a better clown. So, to me, desert ghost is it's a tool. It's a tool gene.
Okay. 3 genes that you don't have in your collection that you would like to add.
Well, that's easy. So, first, and absolutely first, is Cosmos.
Okay.
And I've talked to my good friend Ralph. Ralph, I hope you're listening, to sell me one, but the numbers we threw around was a little bit eye-watering. Well, I can't say. Just
The first Cosmos clowns go for like 35 grand or 25 grand,
it was
wasn't it?
20 more than that. Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah, 50 odd grand. I said I can't do that. I would have done 25, but not 50. Anyway, Cosmos clown. I would obviously that's clown, but Cosmos gene. I'm fortunate I have Stranger, Sunset, blah blah blah, and then it would be Redhead, even though it's an older gene. Amazing gene, but I don't own it, and I should. We've obviously talked a bit about Zebra and stuff, but I haven't seen anything yet with Zebra. And like Tri-Stripe, there's a few combinations I've seen create that I love, but it's not necessarily on my radar. But Cosmos, 100%. Redhead, definitely need. And then maybe Mario gene.
Okay.
Yeah, because, I think there's... It's a bit like Desert Ghost, isn't it? Yeah, I'm stretching a bit,
Are there any genes that you've had the opportunity to buy in the past that you've sort of passed up on and you wish you hadn't sort of regretfully overlooked?
Yeah, there is. Oh, Stranger. I've got it now, but I was in a position where I won't name names, so I don't want to, upset anyone, but a particular quality breeder offered me a Stranger Het clown that it was either proven or he was like a kilo. I can't quite remember. And it was right money. I think it was like 10 grand. And because the whole because the whole Stranger mahogany thing was going on. And someone said to me, and I'm not going to throw the guy who said it under the bus, but someone said to me, oh, so-and-so, who's great at IDing, and he really is a talented guy at IDing. He said it's categorically mahogany. So I sat on the sidelines, and I wish I didn't. I wish I pulled the trigger faster on Sunset and Stranger, but more so Stranger, because I pulled the trigger about 8 years later than I hoped. Because I paid a lot of money for that Stranger mahogany, potentially yellow belly combo I've got.
Okay.
That's only Posset clown, so I misread the ad. I did.
Did you buy it as Het clown?
I thought it was, yeah. I paid $7.5 grand for it.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Are there any genes that you've had that you've worked with and sort of decided it wasn't really for you?
Bumblebees? I don't know. I think I don't like pinstripe. And I bought a pinstripe. It's around here somewhere. I bought a pinstripe disco clown, 100% Het Desert Ghost over there. I think every gene that doesn't have a genetic defect, like Spider and Desert, I think every gene can have its day. I'm such a believer in that. Every gene is one combination away from being the next best thing. So there's not really, now I've weaned out, like I wish Desert, as in not Desert Ghost, Desert. I wish Desert didn't have that genetic problem with the females. But yeah, there's not something I've weaned out that I wish I never were out. No.
What's the project you think's been slept on the most? Or the gene that's been slept on the most?
Desert Ghost. It has. I used to sell Desert Ghost in my shop for 99 quid and we couldn't give them away. We couldn't. And I used to say, and I said it so much, I used to say, Desert Ghost is going to take off. I said it about Hyper, I said it about Desert Ghost, I said it about G-Stripe, because of G-Stripe clown, Desert Ghost clown. I said, it was obvious. I'm not, Mystic Meg. It was obvious. Everybody was saying it. But I didn't listen to my own advice. And that's what I'm doing more now. I'm listening to my own advice. Like when I'm structuring people's projects and collections, I'm restructuring mine because there's no more shop stuff now. So Urban Constrictors is having a restructure. And this year, this is why I need good odds and a lot of clutches, because I'm going to restructure a lot of stuff.
How's that restructure going to look? 'Cause obviously you're going to lose that bottom tier that you was talking about of shop stock stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go like to the middle tier and obviously beyond. I'm just...
You're just going to increase those,
Yeah.
Or not breed anything in between those. And
Yeah, just increase the good stuff. Yeah, so yeah.
why do you think Desert Ghost was slept on for so long? Or why do you think it took so long to take off?
Oh, man, I don't know. I don't know. It's like if I speak from my own experience, it's because you're so engrossed in the things you're doing. Like, oh, I want an orange dream clown, so I'm putting orange dream to clown to make the hets to grow them up, blah blah blah. And it's just another thing you have to get into. We all knew its potential, but we didn't give it the credit it deserved. So we relaxed on it, like we do in so many things, in life. We just relax on it, and then it kind of passes you up. So that's why, to get me, to get me rolling, I laid the money out for Desert Ghost Clown. Because like I spoke to Will Morrows at RCR, I said, Will, do you think that's a good buy for me? Bearing in mind I have no clown combos het Desert Ghost. I do now, but I didn't then. He said, Paul, well, you're clowns, so you can just run it through whatever you want and make amazing clowns that 100% het Desert Ghost. So then next year, or the year after, should I say, then next year you're smashing them out, and you're smashing them out at a higher peer than most because you've got the girls. So, and that's one thing I'm going to get to really detailed about Patreon is trying to have 2 of every female you've got. Every good female you need 2 of, minimum. Like, I'll use this as an example, and this was going to be a bit of a competition on the Patreon. I was going to put a post up saying, right, I've got Super Orange Dream, Leopard, Yellow Belly, Fire, Clown, that's possible het pied female. Would you breed the Black Pastel Hurricane Clown to her or the Desert Ghost Clown? And then I was going to take everyone's answers and, look at the answers and see what they say. I need her identical twin because I don't want to choose. I want to put the Desert Ghost Clown to one, and I want to put the Black Pastel Hurricane Clown to the other. Because both are so amazing and so exciting. But I have to choose, and I will choose the Desert Ghost Clown. But I so want to use the Hurricane Clown. Oh my God, I do.
So, obviously, outside of the Royals, you've got the Green Tree Pythons as well.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing anything else with Green Trees? Is it still going to be a little bit of a back burner, or are you going to increase?
Oh, it's never been a back burner, but the thing with Green Tree Pythons is that if you don't know, you don't know. Green Tree Python breeding is breeding them's not difficult, but getting eggs off them and not killing them is difficult. Then getting them to bounce back and not killing them is difficult. Incubating the eggs is difficult. Then hatching babies is even difficult. Every step is more difficult than the last. It's like stepping stones, but every step is a bit further away. And, when you miss the step, it ends in them dying. So then when you finally hatch them, then they die. And then when you finally get them feeding, then they die. But it's been a real emotional roller coaster because I have to accept I started with 17 eggs and I wasn't going to get 17 babies. I might do 450 ball pythons and I'll get 449. So it's very different. But for me, Green Tree Pythons is so exciting. It's more exciting to me than ball pythons. And it's because I'm so used to hatching ball pythons. So I'm super passionate about them. I've been offered a ton of money for my babies. I've been offered a hell of a lot of money for the black one. And I'm not going to let any of them go. And if they turn out boring green, then that's that. But I'll learn from it. I'll love it. I'll document it. I'll understand what my Green Tree Python collection can do. And then move forward with that. I'm so excited about Green Tree Pythons. But you have to be careful. You have to be so careful with them. Like, she's bounced back phenomenal. Look, she's hunting now. She wants more food, but she ain't getting it. So she needs to defecate before she gets any more food. And then, obviously, I've just picked up my first ever 2 boa constrictors from me, Paul Milner, not Ocean Corals and Reptiles, and obviously for Urban Constrictors. Northern Emerald Chibos, because I want to get deeper in the arboreals. I want Amazon basins, Northerns, Green Tree Python room over there, and yeah, it'll be amazing.
Where's the room going to go?
So if you watch any of my YouTube videos, where the camera is behind it, that's where the door will be.
Okay, so you're just going to expand out that way.
So I'm going to do a green tree, a boreal room, should I say. And that will be like it's what I see as my art gallery. Because ball pythons are hidden for the most part in plastic tubs, because that's what they require, in my opinion, to do their absolute best. You know, I think it would be very, very difficult to successfully keep 350 ball pythons in vivariums. I don't mean the time, you know, what it would cost in time, but to keep them all happy, healthy, and doing what they need to do to breed. But with green tree pythons, you can have them on display. So it's going to be like my art room.
Okay. 3 bits of advice for anyone coming into the hobby. What would you say the best 3 bits of advice that you could offer?
Get in with the right crowds and distance yourself from the people that are trying to bring people down, because, you know, positivity breeds positivity and negativity breeds negativity. The thing is, I always say, when the tide comes in, all the boats rise together. So, you know, be around the good guys and you'll rise with them. And then buy off the right people. Try and get to know a little bit about the people you're planning to buy off, because unfortunately some people out there look like great quality breeders, and they are great guys for the most part, but unfortunately they have a lot of issues in their collection. Some of them are, you know, known in the industry, and some of them are a little bit less known. And yeah, just, you know, try not to move too fast and buy better animals less often than just filling your racks full of lower end snakes, because the people that fill their racks with lower end snakes, once they get breeding and they get over the excitement and the amazing sections of every aspect of, you know, breeding and getting eggs and collecting eggs and incubating them and hatching them and then feeding them, and they've done everything right, and they try and sell them and nobody wants them. And that blows anyone's candle out. You know, it's like, well, I can't sell them. What do I do now?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's really important that people fill their racks with decent animals. They don't have to be hurricane clowns, but don't buy a pastel het clown when you could just save up for a pastel clown, because it's not, you know, it's not crazy money, a pastel clown. So that might be a bad example, but you know what I mean.
No, I think the sentiment's right. It's the distance, the difference between a pastel het and a pastel clown isn't.
It's not
something that's going to massively impact you. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, the people that are walking around on his show, and then, unless they're just happy just breeding anything, that's different. But if people want to kind of either make money or get a return on their investments, because the only thing you can't get back is time. So anything you spend your time on is a massive investment.
Yeah.
So if you're investing a lot of your time into your snakes, don't be scared to make, you know, money from it, make it pay for itself or make it lucrative for yourself. And the way to do that is buying better animals, structuring your program.
3 biggest inspirations for you, either inside the hobby or out.
Justin Kabelka just never ever fails to blow my socks off. And, you know, I mean, Justin talk a bit, he's a great guy for the most part, you know, he's always shown me love. Miguel, I have to say Miguel, because Miguel is the nicest guy I think I've ever met. I haven't met him, but you know what I mean. He in 4 years, what he's done is mind-blowing. He's done it so incredibly well. And then another big inspiration is myself, because I'm just great. No, I don't know a third one. But inside the hobby, for inspiration on Will Morrow's, for the genetic side of things. I don't mean like my best friends in the hobby and stuff like that, but I mean just that really do inspire me. I'd say them 3 guys.
So, last question, and then we'll start wrapping it up. You're having dinner. There's 4 spare seats around the table. You can invite anyone, alive or dead. Who are you inviting?
Tupac Shakur.
Tupac, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So the second one would be, it'd either be someone like Lil Wayne or 50 Cent, just because I think they'd be super interesting, you know, to listen to their upbringings and stuff, because it's very different to the UK. And then the last one would be probably Billy the Kid, because obviously from a different era and, you know, still world famous and what he did. I think that'd be my 3 guys. But if I had more time, I could probably pick up better
you rolled them
people.
off pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, very quick. You know, I don't like to waste people's time. But, yeah, you know. But like I said, like potentially Dave Chappelle to make me laugh because I love his wicked sense of humour. But, yeah, I think I like to talk to people who are very successful in business and that, but the names just start coming to me. Like Shaquille
Alan
O'Neal.
Sugar?
No, because he's just boring. Shaquille O'Neal, hit amazing, you know.
Yeah.
Amazing businessman, and you know, to sit around like there's like you say 3 or 47 people. Denzel Washington, I'd love to just sit around and shoot the breeze with him. I'm sure I'm on his top 3. So
I would have thought so.
Yeah, just people
Definitely.
like that. Marilyn Monroe, because I want to know if she is as fit as she looks. You know, because she was ahead of her time for how she looked. But yeah, that's my 47 people.
Simple. So, social media, where can people find you, contact you?
So, if you want to contact me, first of all, you got to pay me. So. No, so the best place to contact me, even if you're on Patreon, but the best place you can contact me is Instagram, because I'm pretty active on there. I have had a couple of weeks off because I've been focusing my time on Patreon and Discord. But yeah, Patreon, obviously I do YouTube and stuff. I'm a bit blasé with YouTube. When I've got cool and exciting things to show, I'll show it. And then when you know we're out of season, I'm just showing the holdbacks. Then once I've shown them once or twice, I kind of go off. I have some amazing supporters that are continuously saying, "Come on, Paul, do more videos," but I just have nothing to film most of the time. But yeah, so Instagram would be the best place to find me. And then I do YouTube, and I'm not active on Facebook. So
Are you Urban Constrictors and all of those?
Yeah.
So, before we go, actually, one last thing for people in the room. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hi, Paul. I'm Darren Hughes from Neighbour Constrictors. We met a couple of times before, I believe. You've got quite addictive personality.
Yeah.
Hence why there's so many rules in it. If you had to choose another hobby, and it was not to do with animals, or fish, or like you've done before, what do you think you'd be?
Car racing. Yeah, something to do with driving fast in cars. Maybe drifting. But yeah, that's what I do, car racing.
Great long answer, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, do you guys have any questions? Anything you would have asked me if it was on the phone or out? No pressure. If don't come up without good, you're not coming.
Nothing.
No. Everyone's like, I just want to go home.
Right, silence from the room. Well, that is it.
Well, that
I'll
makes
start
me
wrapping it up.
popular.
Yeah, no one wants to speak to you, Paul. So,
It's because we covered everything, Thomas.
is that what it is? So, yeah, let's start wrapping it up. Thank you very much for agreeing to come on. Again, thanks for your hospitality over the last couple of days.
Thank you, Tom.
And-
Thanks for everyone that came.
Speak to you soon.
Thank you. Big ups. I'm taller than you. Fact.
Pretending.
Hi, this is Andy over at Clubmore Reptiles in Liverpool, sponsoring the Wolfies podcast. We've decided to sponsor the podcast because we massively believe in the reptile community and especially Royal Pythons. So if you're ever in the Liverpool area and you fancy popping in to say hi and having a brew, then come on over. Anyway, back to Wolfie on the podcast.
Boom, and that is another one done. Now, I don't know what you guys think of that, so please do send me some feedback and things. But it was great just to actually sit down with Paul, spend a bit of time, really get him to open up about his past and his present and the future for him. And it was great to see the animals that he has there and the facility that he's got built there as well. It really is phenomenal. So, again, thanks, Paul, for your hospitality. Absolutely fantastic weekend, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Just a few little quick bits to go over as well. The EU and US shipments are now closed. So if you are on that, keep an eye out on your messages. I'll be sending you some updates of things that are going on. We are now taking bookings for EU export and US export. So if you do have buyers overseas in Europe or in the States, then drop us a message and let's see how we can help you out. But other than that, that's everything I've got to say for this month's episode. So, yeah, thanks very much again for listening. See you again next month. Peace.